Hey, what's up guys? Your average wargamer is back with another video of World of Warships. And today I'm gonna be featuring Tier 10 premium aircraft carrier, the British one, the Malta. Now, Malta, well, there is some things that I want to talk about, specifically about this carrier because, well, I mean, it is a really good gameplay which you can definitely watch, but alongside with that, I want to talk about some dev block changes for the Malta. And as you can able to see right here, you can able to see the screenshot that Malta is getting changed in the next update, which is basically 1 week from now. So, does it really make Malta weak ship because its AP bombers are going to get changed in a way that its payload is going to be slightly different than what it is right now. So in terms of payload, the Malta is basically now having a lot less bombs compared to like right now that it currently has. So what I'm talking about is it has 20 bombs in payload when it drops on a single target with one squad strike, but it's gonna get changed as pretty much here. It's getting also the torpedo bombers buff as well along with that nerf. So this is also one of the things that I do like, even though they are nerfing the bombs. Still, the torpedo bombers also getting some buffs, like from 5,900 damage to now 6,500, which is pretty nice to see. But I mean, the AP bombs, the amount of damage that you can do with the AP bombs on light cruisers is definitely very terrifying. And I actually believe that it should get nerfed. I mean, when you are playing a light cruiser and there's a Malta in enemy team, I mean, you're definitely going to have some headaches when you are looking at those AP bombers, those carpet AP bombers that can definitely death strike you in just one strike. So I think it is sort of fair that they are, nerfing those bombs, but still, I mean, it's a 25% nerf, by the way, like in terms of the payload, which kind of sucks. I mean, as a carrier player, you definitely enjoy death striking those light cruisers like Minotaur, Brisbane, Austin, even those of like Jinan, and even a couple of other light cruisers that you commonly see in Tier 10 matchmaking. But still, I mean, the torpedo bombers buff is definitely a welcome change apart from those AP bombs nerf. And I mean, as you can able to see, I'm dropping in this game a Yamato, and you can able to see the damage is not bad. I mean, that damage out of the torpedo is pretty good already, and getting slightly more buff to those torpedoes means that, well, you can literally do 20k strikes with each drop. I mean, exception is Yamato because it has really strong torpedo belt, but I mean, even that, Yamato is also taking 10,000 damage per drop, and I mean, Yamato does have really not the best of the AA, and you can able to see that he can only shot down only one plane of Malta, because Malta planes are really tanky. You can clearly see that Yamato take massive damage regardless. But I would still say that it's not going to be that bad. I mean, bad, because, well, 15 bombs, if you still drop on a light cruiser, it definitely going to hurt, regardless of, that, because, well, citadel damage is definitely not getting nerfed. It's just the payload that's slightly softened up compared to right now what we have currently in the game. Malta is still, I believe, going to be really strong since they just buffed the torpedo bomber somehow. And with this thing in mind, well, you can definitely do quite a lot of good things with torpedo bombers. Torpedo bombers are, I would say, the most reliable damage output that you can get in carriers, no matter what, because, well, they don't have some sort of RNG. I mean, if you're going to hit torpedoes, they will do damage. And I just like the fact that, I mean, these torpedo bombers getting buffed. And as you can able to see, I didn't done a citadel damage in this game, which basically also tells you that, well, I mean, even without getting citadels in Malta game, you can still pump out reliable damage numbers. I mean, in this case, I will gonna show you the Brest that I'm gonna drop. And I mean, Brest has a bit of a tanky deck armor, so I mean, it's sort of a heavy cruiser, so I don't really believe that I will get citadel damage. But again, the reliability of those AP bombs with only penetration damage is still gonna be good enough. In the next patch, obviously, it's gonna be a lot much less, because 25% less damage output is definitely gonna hurt. But Malta, in my opinion, is still going to be one of the best or strongest carriers in the game. I mean, you can able to see that I did decent damage. I mean, maybe with less bombs you can do like slightly less damage. I mean, you can say just 25% less damage output because, well, it's the RNG at the end. I mean, in terms of how much you will get bombs on hit on that guy. Like specifically right now that I did like 15k damage because a lot more bombs penetration. So still, it is still going to be pretty good regardless. In terms of reliability of the torpedo bombers, I'm going to be showcasing you here that what this poor Marceau in a terrible spot doesn't want to push small ends and Clausewitz because obviously they can be very hurting and they can just definitely be a nightmare to push in. The Marceau is basically going to reverse here, and the torpedo bombers, well, if you aim the torpedo bombers well, even on destroyers, well, the reliability of hitting these torpedoes can be pretty devastating, and you can be able to see 13,000 damage. So this poor Marceau has basically no chance. I mean, even he has put up the defensive AA, and I basically again realized that he's gonna reverse, so to basically, or I mean, he's pushing forward again to just eating another 3 torpedoes and getting a permanent flood. So this poor guy, I mean, I was so much, laughing at this situation of him, and sad at the same time that carriers can be really devastating to be dealt against these situations. And you have seen what happened to this Marceau. No one could have done this thing except the carrier. And well, if you are a decent carrier player, well, unfortunately, this is going to be the fate of typical destroyer that basically overextended just barely out there. And I mean, it's not an overextend, it's just using the islands as cover, but well, that's the problem with the carriers, that you can just nullify this position of whatever island hugging or positioning that you are doing. So this kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, this is how strong the carriers currently are in the game. They have this 3-dimensional sort of approach in dealing against every ship class, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of a state of carriers, that how they can be really strong or even sometimes broken. In this case, Malta is definitely way too much strong. I mean, you can able to see that I did 15,000 damage, reliable damage numbers even with these bombs. And Malta, the planes are really tanky, and I mean, the damage output is still pretty good, as you can able to see clearly. I mean, you can able to see what happened to this Kurfürst. I have one less plane. That is exactly the amount of payload that you are expecting in the next patch, because one plane less is basically the same amount of payload that Wargaming is nerfing in the next patch. So I mean, I still did 10,000 damage, and you're expecting these sort of numbers, 10,000, 12,000, not like 15 or 17k, but at least 10, 12,000 damage numbers on with AP bombs on GK or battleship like that, very consistently even after the next patch. And I mean, against light cruisers again, it's gonna be pretty reliable if you get Citadel hits, so there is no contest to that. And well, talking about this drop on the torpedo bombers are very reliable, and you can maneuver sort of like FDR. And well, this poor Annapolis had just made him sort of turn towards those Z-46 torpedoes and then dying from those 4 torpedoes, which is which is hilarious as well. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's how the Annapolis died, like real quick. But yeah, Malta, I would say, still really strong carrier. You can deal against every single target very consistently, no matter what, because well, Malta has basically all the the things or plane payload types to deal against every ship class. I mean, the exception is submarine, sure, but still, I mean, you will be able to clearly see that I'm using rockets against destroyers, and these rockets are pretty good, I would say, against DDs. Like, because these rockets, if you don't know, well, Audacious and Malta has basically almost the same drop style of rockets, except the payload is different and the reticle is slightly bigger in Malta. But again, the Malta has one huge advantage, and that is the tankiness of the planes, because these are 12 planes, so a lot much more planes, as well, it can reliable able to hit DDs because it has only pre-firing machine time of 3 seconds. Usually there is 3.4 seconds for the midway HVARs, and then there is like 4 seconds for Hakuryu rockets. So I mean, life gets a bit difficult when you have this delay, but 3 seconds is still sort of absorbable. And I mean, you can able to see that any DD that gets spotted, I can just reliably drop rockets, and 3 seconds is basically pretty good enough. In this case, well, that poor Jaeger taken, well, good damage by the Burgon. Even though this is my division mate, he's playing Burgon, and he's taking all the Jaeger torpedoes. Another very funky destroyer that I can definitely post a video on. And I will definitely post a video on Jaeger because it is a really interesting destroyer in the game. But certainly, I killed him in this situation because, well, it is extremely vulnerable against carriers. And Burgon also did a lot of damage to that poor destroyer. On the other hand, what would happen to the Malta bombs is if you are going to snipe CVs, especially like you get reliable AP bombs damage on midway, well, definitely with that 25% less damage output, this could definitely reduce the impact power that the sniping that you can get from these bombs on the other enemy carriers, which I mean kinda sucks, but I would still say that I mean, even without no Citadel hits in this game, I did 145k damage. I mean, absurd spotting damage, the 192k, which is obviously a big issue in the carriers currently in the game, because the spotting damage that you can do is just crazy, I would say. And Wargaming is definitely looking to change, which I really hope they do, because it is too powerful. But again, I did great results with Malta, and you have seen this clearly what I did here. So team score, I mean in the score wise, 145k damage, 21 top hits, poor destroyer taking torpedoes, target hits 50, 3 destroyed, 2 defended, some decent rocket hits on that poor Nevsky. Team score wise, well, Burgon and Malta, well, Burgon played really well. I just spotted for him quite a lot. But again, in me as Malta player, I also survived, and not survived. I just did great support to my battleship and basically help our team win the game. So this is what I want to say about the Malta changes. And thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you really like it. And people are definitely talking a lot about whether we should buy the Malta or not, but I mean, I would simply say yes, it is still worth it. At least compared to Maximum, I would say Malta is a lot better choice to pick. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you into the next one. Peace out.